How's it going, everyone? It's Zerker, and today we are going to do the April manga haul. April was a beautiful month, especially for getting manga and collecting manga. We're going to start with the old stuff first, and then we'll work our way to currently serializing new releases, and then at the very end we'll do the degen stuff, pretty much. But start off with the older stuff. Went ahead and went to Half Price Books and found these two volumes of Mobile Suit Gundam, The Lost War Chronicles. From my understanding, it's just these two volumes, and these have a relation to a Mobile Suit video game that came out, or like the manga version of a particular Mobile Suit video game. Not entirely sure, just know that wanted to expand my Mobile Suit Gundam collection, and I know that these take place in like a alternate universe from the main story, so I don't have to worry about keeping up with anything. I can just knock these out and get it out of the way. Continuing with the Half Price trip that I went to, the Half Price that I always go to, always, no matter what, always has some sort of singles of the Blade of the Immortal, and I always make it a point now to pick them up when I do see them. And this time they had these 4 volumes in particular. I could just ultimately get the omnibus versions of Blade of the Immortal. I could just deal with the fact that I bought the deluxe versions, actually the first 3 of the deluxe versions of Blade of the Immortal, but I honestly truly do enjoy the single versions. I do love the alternating spine covers. I do love the covers in general. I just don't particularly like that you have to read these left to right. But either way, I love Blade of the Immortal, so I'm probably just going to keep buying as many variations, I guess, or at least all the singles, or as many of the singles as I can get, and the deluxe versions that Dark Horse is releasing. And almost a year ago, I made a big purchase on a manga that I had been wanting. It's a manga that I consider to be one of my holy grails. It is a manga that had a fantastic anime that came out years ago. When I purchased the original, or my first set of volumes, it was missing, I think it was about 6 or 8 volumes. Hold on, 2, 4, 7 volumes. I was missing 7 volumes. So I was able to, going through Mercari, Facebook Marketplace, eBay, Manga Swap, I was able to find and get the remaining volumes that I was missing of GTO. So that's volumes 7, 8, 15, 16, 17, 18, and 22. This makes me have the entire original run of GTO finished. Now I can start reading it, because I think reading it is going to be a lot more entertaining than what the anime was. The anime was already a fantastic show, but I think the manga is going to offer a lot more, especially for laughter, and especially for things that they just probably didn't put into the manga or to the anime and everything like that, you know. And it is a holy grail for my collection. It is one that I've always wanted to have and hold, so I'm super excited to actually finally have the opportunity to actually hold this entire series and to actually finally get to read it all, because I've been waiting to read it, and I've been trying to figure out what next series I want to read from my collection that is long, and this one is a fairly long series. I believe it's like 25, 26 volumes in total. But yeah, I'm super stoked. Now, a new series, I shouldn't say new series, but it's new to my collection. It's one that I didn't even think to consider got an English release. It is one that I played a lot of as a video game on the Nintendo. Kind of showing my age there a little bit. But yeah, I did play this one on Nintendo. Loved it, enjoyed it. I didn't even think and consider, like I said, that this would have a manga, let alone in English, but it does, and I was surprised to find that it does, and decided to pick up volumes 7 through 13 of Go 13. Now, these English releases took, from my understanding of what I looked into, they took the absolute most popular or the best stories from the Go franchise and combined them into volumes. So in the US, we're only getting volumes 1 through 13, but like I said earlier, they are the best stories from the Go franchise, which is also nice because that means you can pick up any volume that you find, and read it without having to worry about starting at volume 1 and continuing on. The nice thing with Gogo is pretty simple. He is basically, the best way to describe it in my opinion is he is Japan's version of like James Bond. He's like a hitman and he does the hits, but he has like certain criteria that he abides by and things like that. And it's a super great, super old series and definitely going to be an enjoyable read. And I would be very surprised, it's not on my radar, but I would be very surprised if I could find volumes 1 through 6 and just have the entirety of the English release for Gogo 13. That would be insane. Like, that would be absolutely insane to have. But yeah, volumes 7 through 13 of Gogo 13. We're getting to the last 2 volumes of the out of print or older series that I got for this haul, and this one was not even on my radar, like not even remotely close to it. It was just that by chance I found it on eBay, and that is Nihei's Abara. Basically, Abara translates to ribs, and from my understanding with this, the complete deluxe edition, it also has Nihei's other side story or very early short story called Digimortal. So I am super excited to actually have this because I didn't even consider looking to see if this was even listed. It was basically in the recommendations for a listing of something else I was looking at, which is coming up next. And yeah, through the offer to the seller, he took it and I got it, and I'm super stoked. The one thing I'm very curious about, because I've been kind of skimming through Abra and, you know, a little bit of Biomega, Opossums, Knights of Sidonia, is that I'm noticing a recurring theme. There's a lot of characters that look very similar to each other, especially in Abra and Biomega. I've noticed there's lots of similarities between these two, and I don't know if Nihei has this grand universe between all his series that they're all connected in some fashion, or if it's just by chance, or if he's just kind of recycling certain aspects or certain characters to his other series. That is Abra, Ribs, whichever one you want to use. My Nihei collection is growing even larger and better. And keeping on with the Nihei train, Biomega Volume 3. This was a very difficult volume to get my hands on, but I was able to. Won a bid on it on eBay. Surprisingly, it went under the radar for a lot of people. Just flew under the radar. I don't know why no one bid in on it. Well, I have an idea, because the guy didn't list or didn't show the actual photos. He just used a stock photo on eBay. So I think a lot of people got kind of worried, and he said it was acceptable condition, but it's actually, like, if you look at it, it's in really, really good condition for its age. Like, it's barely got any yellowing. There's no bent pages or corners or anything like that. It's just like the spine's even fine, like no damage on the spines at all. So I don't know what he meant by acceptable. I haven't seen any markings inside of it. The only thing I do see is, I don't know if it'll pick it up either, but there's a little damage right here. But other than that, that's like the only thing that I've noticed for this particular volume, so I'm not sure. But maybe I just got lucky. I don't know. But I'm happy to have it. Completes Biomega, and like I said, my Nihei collection is growing. So with that, we're gonna kind of transition now into the pre-orders, the new releases, the new pickups that I got, and all that wonderful stuff. We're gonna start it off with Matsumoto's number 5. This is volume 4. I believe this is the final volume for this series, and I'll say this every time I get these covers are wonderful. They wrap around. His artwork always inside looks so unique and so great. I love how he uses a lot of dark, hard ink, and then there's some panels where they're just soft ink. I love that. I love, so far what I've been seeing with this is super good. I don't know the exact extent of the story, but like I said, this is only 4 volumes, so it'll be a very quick, hopefully quick and enjoyable read. Now, this next one is a new series, and the action inside looked really good, and the name kind of stuck out to me a lot because I don't think I'm going to be able to pronounce it very well. Semel Paris? Powers? Yeah, I don't know. It's got the very typical high school girls, or at least girls that fight kaiju / monsters, things like that. Seems like there is some sort of love interest between these two from what I've seen through skimming through. And yeah, it's a Seven Seas publication, so you probably guarantee there's gonna be some spiciness going on in here, especially between those two. So we'll have to see. But yeah, like I said, this is gonna be, I'm gonna read these 2 volumes here and kind of go base it off of that. And if it's fairly enjoyable, then I'll keep going until, you know, either lose interest or it gets really bad. Now, another new pickup for my collection, and this is one that's for me kind of way out there because it's very different, slow, slice of lifey. But that is Girl's Last Tour. This is volume 1. Don't know exactly for sure how many volumes there are in this one, or if it's still even continuing in publication. But from what I got from looking at the panels inside, as you see now, it looks like a post-apocalyptic world of Japan after, I'm assuming, World War II, based off of some of the technology and equipment and vehicles used. And it could be even later in the years, I guess, after something happened. Looks like there's very little amount of humans alive, and they do kind of just tour around from what I'm assuming is Japan. I don't know. Be a nice change of pace though, kind of something a little bit slower, something more relaxing and chill. So we'll see. And another new pickup. This one is Ragna Crimson. This one I actually saw HVL Manga talking about, and she got me super hyped up about it. Fantasy world, dragons rule this world, and humans are fighting the dragons to, regain control. I saw it at Barnes & Nobles and took a quick skim through, and it looked quite interesting. The artwork looked great. The fight scenes looked interesting and great. So I decided to buy the only one they had in stock, which was this volume 1, and kind of go from there. I think what I'll do with this one is get probably volume 2 and 3. That way I give this one a chance for the world to grow and expand and really kind of set itself in, and then make my decision from there on whether or not to continue on with this series. But so far I am looking forward to this one. I think it has a lot of potential, and yeah, we'll see. I'm looking forward to it. And another one that's new for my collection is Go With the Clouds, North by Northwest. I've been through Barnes & Nobles a couple times in these past weeks trying to get my hands on some of the new releases that were coming out because I didn't want to wait for Right Stuff to send them. But I've always saw this one sitting on the shelves, and the cover always kind of interested me, and the title did, and then on the back it even made me even more interested because I thought originally this was like a travel manga, but it's about a private investigator who is in Iceland, and he helps people get reconnected with various people. You know, an ex-husband and ex-wife get reconnected, past lovers get connected, and then at the very end of this volume, a new mystery arises between our main character and his brother, and events that happened in Japan with his brother while our main guy here was in Iceland doing his job. So I will say, when I was first reading through it, it was kind of boring for a little bit, but it was also somewhat interesting at the same time. And then right when I was kind of just going to throw in the towel and say, all right, I'm done with this, they threw in that mystery with his brother and the events of a mystery that happened with his brother in Japan. And then I was like, okay, now I got to get volume 2 to see where things go from there. So like I said, I'm going to keep going with this one until I get very bored with it. These next ones, we're going to get into pretty much all the hype manga that's coming out. A lot of it that people are just excited for. And we're going to start it off with one that a lot of people have been waiting for and a lot of people have been excited about, and that's Sakamoto Days. Best way to describe Sakamoto Days, I have not read it yet, but the best way to describe it is retired, old, overweight John Wick runs a convenience store and does his duties as a former hitman. To protect his convenience store and the people around him, I guess. It's an action comedy. Should be really fun. There's a lot of people talking about it. A lot of people are hyped up about it. So you know how to jump on it and check it out. That's Sakamoto Days Volume 1. I'm excited for this. It looks fun. Just skimming through it, it looks fun. Spy Family Volume 7. Look, there's nothing that needs to be said. It's Spy Family. Watch the anime if you haven't yet. It's great. It's a little slow, but it's going to be fantastic once it gets ramped up. Especially when they get to Desmond's character here. Him and Anya's chemistry is perfect. Yeah. Volume 7 of Spy Family. And Volume 10 of Chainsaw Man. I'm going to wait until Volume 11 comes out, and then I'm going to re-binge through all of Chainsaw Man from Volume 1 all the way to the end of volume 11. That will be the end of part 1 of Chainsaw Man. And there's no word yet exactly when part 2 will begin. I am so excited to see where this is going to go, especially with some of the things I've heard that happened in this series, especially with Best Girl here. I don't care what anybody says. This is Best Girl. I don't give it. For this series, in this series, she's the best. Another manga that a lot of people have been talking about, but I'm not really exactly feeling it, is Kaiju number 8. This is volume 2. I love kaiju, like I love Godzilla and all that stuff, like that's awesome, but I was struggling to enjoy volume 1, and I know the first volume is always a little rough because it's got to kind of set things and set the tone and get everything established, but if volume 2 cannot change things up a little bit for me and kind of keep me more invested than volume 1 did, then this may be a very quick dropped series for me. Another volume 7, which is called The Night. I love this cover. This cover is fantastic. This is a great cover. I love coloring that they did, or the color choices that they did. This is great. This is a great manga. Basically deals with vampires. Our main character dude has insomnia. He's always going out at night. He meets the vampire, wants to become a vampire, but it requires him to fall in love with her, the vampire. It's great. There's an anime coming out, so if you don't want to read the manga, you can definitely check that one out because the anime trailer that they released looks really good. So I cannot wait to see what they do with this series. We got volume 10 of Don't Toy With Me, Miss Nagatoro. Like, I'm not going to say much more than I've already said in the past. I love this series. It's great. I think a lot of people just need to get it past the initial shock that happens in volume 1 between Nagatoro and the main character guy, fuck's his name, Pai-san. And then once they kind of see their relationship develop, then they'll see that this is actually a pretty good, wholesome series. Volume 5 of Zerker Gluttony. This is just a wonderful, no brains, veg out, power fantasy kind of manga that you can just sit back or enjoy. There's nothing, doesn't take itself seriously. It's just dude gets super powerful because of his special ability and destroys shit pretty much. But this has been a fantastic, wonderful read. I am enjoying this one a lot. Don't hear a lot of people talking about it, and I believe there was an anime that was released of this, so I should probably check that out as well. Alright, we got a new release finally, and this is one I have been waiting for. When I heard this was getting an English release, I have been so excited for this one. The Ididen Deities Only Know Peace. If you didn't watch the anime of this, you missed out on some amazing fight scenes, amazing color palettes. I will say that I believe it was the first episode, was pretty shock value, and from my understanding, it gets even worse, especially where the anime ended. That was kind of like jarring, and it's like surprising to me because the artist for this series is actually the artist, or I guess the creator or manga of Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid. I mean, you can see the similarities in the art with Kobayashi and Ididen, but the things that happen in here, especially near the end of this volume, surprises me that he had any involvement, or she, I'm not sure what their pronouns are, I guess. I was like super shocked and surprised that artist drew some of the things that are happening in this particular volume, and that happened later on in the series. So at the very least, give this anime a shot. It is really good. It's really enjoyable. The opening for this is such a fucking banger, dude. I love the opening. Probably my favorite opening song in an anime in a very, very long time was from this one. Another new release, and this is one I've been waiting for also for a while because I actually loved this anime like 3 years ago, and that is Darling in the Franxx. This is volumes 1 through 2 omnibus. Now I'm only picking this one up because I'm very curious to see if this manga will differ in any way to what was done in the anime, especially when we get to the second half of where the anime was. And if it doesn't, then I'm hoping this will kind of maybe explain things a little bit better as far as what the hell was going on, because I don't recall the anime doing a pretty good job explaining that, and I'm wondering if the ending will be any different between the manga and the anime. Now this next manga was actually a very surprise hit for me because I read the first volume of this one, fell in love with it, and I had immediately picked up the other 2 volumes that they had and enjoyed even those, so I had to get volume 4 of Slasher Maidens. What was really cool about this one is, for one, I didn't know this while I was reading volumes 1 and 2. I noticed it by volume 3. I was like, dude, the art style in this looks very, very similar to Akame ga Kill. and Akame ga Kill 0, and that's when I looked online and realized that the mangaka and artist for this one is the artist for Akame ga Kill and Akame ga Kill 0, so that explains why I really enjoyed the art in this. And another thing I enjoyed about this series was it pays like a homage or gives references to like 90s 80s slasher film villains. For instance, in volume 2 here, doesn't she look a lot like, or have an appearance like, Freddy Krueger with the hat and the claws? And then there's a character or monster in here that has a leather face like design where they wear the skin and stuff. So it's such an enjoyable read, and I believe it's only going to be 5 volumes in total. So yeah, this is a great one. I'm really happy I found this and picked it up. All right, now we are getting into the D-Gen side of things, and we're going to start it off with a pretty dark one. And I don't even know if I'm going to pronounce this name correctly. This is Sensei's POS Lie. Let's just read the back, so kind of give you a little bit of an idea. 24-year-old Mizuhara is shy, introverted high school teacher, content to play the passive role of observer, until her quiet life is shaken to the foundation by 2 men, one her friend's fiance and the other her own student. In Sensei's POS Lie, Akane Torikai weaves a complex web of sex, ambivalence, I probably just pronounced that wrong, desire and violence that combines to produce one of the most nuanced and affecting explorations of the intersection between power and gender available in any medium. I was flipping through this and I came across a couple panels that were kind of really jarring for even me, because it's not something that I particularly like to see in any medium. And it begins with an R, if you kind of understand where I'm going with that. Yeah, so I'm kind of curious to see, and I don't know if what this was showing was what was actually happening. It could have been consensual, but we'll see. I haven't read it yet, and I'm kind of shocked by what I saw in there when I kind of skimmed through it. So, but yeah, that's Sensei's POS Lie. Continuing on with the D-Gen Express, we got Shiori's Diary. This is volume 3, the final volume. Basically, Shiori's Diary is a borderline H manga, which means there is henty aspects to it, but without showing a lot of the usual henty stuff. And basically, this story is about Shiori, which is her. She is a housewife at I think 34 years of age. She works at a cafe and a hotel. She discovers her husband is having an affair with one of his co-workers, so she decides to copy his antics and have an affair with the bellboy at the hotel, and she decides to write it down in a diary like her husband was. And I believe this is gonna wrap everything up, so we'll chugging along with the D-Gen train. We got Gigant volume 7. I really need to start this series, especially since I really enjoyed Gantz a lot. And to me, this looks and feels like it has some similarities to Gantz, especially with the aliens aspects. So I gotta get in this one real quick. And lastly, the D-Gen train is going to make a quick stop at this last volume that we have in this haul, and that is Please Put Them On, Takamine-san. Pretty much, our girl here can control time. she can control time. She can reverse time by removing her panties, and doing so, her panties are basically gone or get erased into thin air. In order for you to not to be affected by her time reversal abilities, you'd have to see her bare chest, which is what happens to our main guy character, and he essentially gets discovered and has to now provide her, be like her purse, I guess, of panties. So he carries a bunch of panties for her, which he has to use her abilities. Super weird, but pretty wholesome in the way that they go about in their relationship. But yeah, enjoyable. And yeah, that's volume 3 of this one. But anyway, that wraps it up for this haul for April. But I would also like to just take this moment to say, hey, thank you guys for getting me to 100 subscribers. That's super awesome. Never expected it. I think once everything kind of settles down for me in life and I kind of get settled in with things that are happening, we'll have to do we'll do maybe a giveaway of some sort. I'll figure something out, what we can do. And yeah, just as my thank you to you guys. That was my haul for April, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.